My old friend and colleague Logan Brewer was commissioned to be the concept production designer for the two expos. So that relationship led to him contacting me with some of these big projects that he ended up getting involved in. Expo 88 was the first major one of that sort of thing. There was a real desire to reflect the cultural difference that New Zealand would provide in an international fair or event like this. And of course, when we look for something original and local, we can't really go much past our own Māori cultural heritage. That was a beginning and a flag to take it down that direction. Of course, the words 1988 were high in my mind as a graphic designer. You latch on to the numerals, the typography, the name, all that sort of thing. And I recall the first briefing meeting for the branding. I started to do a little thumbnail sketch on the pad I had in front of me. No more than 10 seconds, I just drew the numerals 88 and put a Māori tiki tongue out of the numerals, and that sort of rang a few bells, but I didn't say anything and kept on with the briefing session and sort of went away and did some conceptual work. But really it didn't change all that much from that first 10-second sketch. Now, most designers will tell you those moments don't happen often. Usually it's a struggle and you're burning the midnight oil and you're doing hundreds of concepts and you finally come up with something you think will work. But that one I knew was going to work. As it proved, everyone loved it. I think we talked about, what would be the predominant flavour of the country from a colour point of view, and you all know in our tourist brochures and of course latterly the clean green thing, we always thought that those sort of land-based colours were going to be the dominant ones, and especially this wonderful, almost strident green that covers the country in the form of bush and pasture. The brief for Seville in 1992 was very much centred around water as a theme. So that gave me the cue to look in that area for inspiration. And I had been working in my own art on the idea of a double spiral as an abstract form. And it suddenly occurred to me that the spiral in a compressed shape inferred the reflections or ripples in a pool. So I thought, there's a clue here. That's how it started, and of course the water theme also conjured up colour. Blue, obviously, was the dominant colour that we recognise as representing water. So those are the two basic elements, the form and the colour. We came up with banners for the front of the pavilion, which I thought was quite nice because it reflected a more European sort of thing, big organisations and United Nations and all that sort of stuff, and they always put up the country flags. And so we did a mini sort of banner exercise for the front of the pavilion there, whereas in Brisbane we'd done the big Pounamu greenstone simulated wall with the logo on it. Probably visually that was one of the main differences, but inside, Logan and his team came up with this wonderful recreation of a New Zealand bush landscape. It was a cliff face really, with water and steam and so they literally did try and recreate the landscape. The response was terrific. Most Europeans respond to the flavour and historical magic idea of the Pacific, It doesn't take a lot to crank that emotion up, I don't think, and I think that's being proved now in our tourist industry very successfully.